Russia calls on the USA to abandon double standards concerning chemical weapons in the region, affirming support for a political solution in Syria. Syrian Arab army units continue their operations against armed groups, eliminating many of them in Deir al-Zour. Blasts continue to rock Baghdad as ISIS terrorists are reportedly killed in Diyala and Tikrit. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. The Russian Foreign Ministry has called on the USA to abandon double standards concerning chemical weapons in the Middle East, which has turned into a place for training terrorists and the production and use of poisonous material. In a statement, the ministry criticized Washington for ignoring the issue of destroying chemical weapons and their components in a safe way in Iraq and Libya, and of the terrorists' use of poisonous material in Syria and Iraq, and yet keeps its campaign against the Syrian authorities, which accuses them of hiding a part of Syria's chemical arsenal. During his meeting with the Mistura, the UN envoy to Syria, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has affirmed his country's full support of the resumption of the political process in Syria in a manner that takes into consideration all the mistakes of the past and the experience as a whole. Lavrov said the negotiations on a settlement in Syria must also involve neighboring countries. On his part, Mistura ruled out any military settlement to the crisis, affirming the need for a political solution as quickly as possible. The activities of the first meeting of the founding board of scholars of the International Union of Resistance kicked off in Beirut, calling to firmly confront the takfirism as it is the lethal tool of terrorism and occupation.
The activities of the first meeting of the founding board of scholars of International Union of Resistance started in the Lebanese capital Beirut with the participation of the Grand Mufti of the Syrian Arab Republic, Dr. Ahmed Badruddin Hassoun, and a number of scholars and men of religion in the Arab and Islamic world. In a speech, the Grand Mufti posed a question about the reason why the world rulers do send weapons to shed the Muslims' blood and then become hypocrite so as to praise Islam. Dr. Hassoun pointed out that the destruction and killing that's happening in Syria and the neighboring countries is being done unfairly by the name of Islam. For his part, Sheikh Naim Qasim, Deputy Secretary General of Hezbollah, defined the jihad in Islam, saying that it has the same meaning of resistance, but it should target Israel and its allies, pointing out that the confrontation today is a political one between the axis of resistance and the axis of Israel and its allies. Combating takfirism and the Wahhabi terrorism was the focus of discussion in the first meeting of the conference, as the scholars asserted the need to join efforts to defeat takfirism so that true religious and human values would prevail.
Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah has said the USA has been using ISIS as a pretext to scare, blackmail and exhaust the states of the region in a bid to impose its hegemony on them, particularly in Syria and Iraq. During the annual meeting of Islamic scholars and the eve of the beginning of the Islamic month of Muharram, Nasrallah said the dispute is not only over Syria, but also for the purpose of delineating a new map for the region, pointing out that ISIS' existence serves both the US and Turkey's interest. Nasrallah described the war waged by the international coalition on ISIS terrorists as being intended to draw a red line for it, to keep it away from Saudi Arabia and Jordan. He pointed out that the raids waged since the beginning of the war have been far less effective than those launched in a single day by the Zionist enemy during the latter's war in Lebanon in July 2006. Nasrallah said, "We have now a golden opportunity to defeat the Takfiri project. We are growing more confident every day that our fight in Syria is waged in order to protect Lebanon. We are today the axis of resistance and the site of victory." However, Nasrallah added, it will take a long time before the battle achieves its final victory. The Israeli enemy has renewed its provocative violations along Lebanon's southern borders. An Israeli patrol has reportedly crossed the electronic fence set up on the borders with occupied Palestine. The 8-member patrol, backed by a military vehicle, reached al-Wazzani River side, where it stayed for 3 hours before withdrawing back to occupied Palestine. Such practices by the Zionist enemy are aimed at scaring the Lebanese who frequent parks in the south. Welcome back. The Syrian Arab Army continues its operations against terrorist ISIS gatherings in Deir, inflicting on them heavy losses in men and material. Several ISIS hideouts are destroyed in Hewejet Saker and al-Houweika neighborhood in the city. Many terrorists have been killed or wounded and their weapons and equipment ruined. Meanwhile, a Syrian Arab Army unit clashed with ISIS armed men in al-Sinaa quarter, killing and injuring many of them. 14 Iraqis were killed and 21 others wounded in 2 separate terrorist blasts that rocked the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. In Tikrit city, Iraqi forces have imposed full control over many villages and districts following the military campaign that was launched early this week. Representative of Nineveh province, Hanin al-Qiddo, said that the Iraqi army has foiled a terrorist attack carried out by ISIS north of Iraq. In Babel province, Iraqi security forces have launched a wide-scale attack, killing 5 of ISIS terrorists as 49 others surrendered. In Diyala province, the police commander said one of ISIS snipers has been killed in the outskirts of Clerics village. Israeli occupation troops have stormed the houses of many Palestinians in Badras village west of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Moreover, while mopping up the area, Israeli soldiers severely hit Al-Watan's TV photographer. This came hours after the Israeli army detained a number of Palestinians in different parts in the occupied Jerusalem and the West Bank. Finally, in Russia, a corporate jet crashed during takeoff at Moscow's Vnukovo International Airport, killing 4 people on board. Airport officials said the jet collided with a snow removal machine, killing the CEO of French oil giant Total and 3 crew members. The driver of the snow removal machine was not hurt. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short break.